Radio Rahim with the chairman, Bob Arum. I can't believe that every time you show up, it is a ginormous fight. We've got now an MMA fighter fighting the heavyweight champion of the world. Even in your wildest dreams in your early days, did you ever imagine that you'd be at the center of something like this?
No, it's not just an MMA fighter. It's heavyweight champion of MMA. So, he's something special. No, I never believed, or I never really believed I would be involved in a promotion as far away as Saudi Arabia, but I'm really thrilled that Top Rank is involved.
You say a heavyweight champion of MMA, and that's absolutely correct. But does that mean anything in the boxing arena?
We'll see October 28th, because if you watched his tapes of his fights, he's a knockout guy. So, Tyson has to watch out. You don't want to get hit by this guy.
Tyson's probably the most elusive, he said, heavyweight in the boxing game right now. So if that's true, and Ngannou just has like a puncher's chance is what people are giving him, how competitive can this fight be?
We'll see. Well, that's what people are going to watch on October 28th. They're going to see a really interesting event. And you're quite correct. If Fury is not able to take out Ngannou, because Ngannou is able to punch as hard as we've seen him punch, then Fury's worth is greatly diminished.
It was set up here today that, Ngannou went out on his own. He left the UFC at the top of his game and thought he could make a better living outside of that. Is it a little satisfying that not only was he successful, but that you're at the helm of Ngannou being successful in his departure from the UFC and finding a bigger payday?
No, I have nothing. I'm not in competition with Dana White and the UFC. I think they did a very good job with Ngannou. Ngannou felt that the grass was greener as a boxer, and he parlayed this into a tremendous purse. Good for him, but I'm not involved in any of that.
If this fight does big numbers, and it by all accounts probably will, Fury has already extended a challenge to Ngannou for the cage. Is that something not only that you would promote, but see as a good idea for a heavyweight champion to try?
That's up to them, and maybe they should call Dana White, because I don't do cage matches.
You'll step away if that's the case.
Let Dana do it.
If there is, again, some kind of crazy upset here, how many times do we see Ngannou and Fury? Because Fury said there's no rematch clause.
That's correct.
So what does it mean?
I don't know what it means. We'll see when we see. We'll get together October 28th. Instead of going to one of these parties in Riyadh, we'll sit down and negotiate the rematch, I guess.
We see Shakur Stevenson has a fight coming up. Everybody wants to see Tank and Shakur, but Frank is no easy win. What is the progress that you see for Shakur at 135 pounds?
I think he's the best under 35-pound fighter out there. I really do. He's terrific. He's done marvelously. So we'll see, one step at a time. But you're quite correct. The Frank Martin fight is not an easy fight.
Is the Tank Davis, Shakur Stevenson fight something that we're looking at in the near future, or is this years off?
Ask Floyd. I'm sure Shakur would jump at fighting Tank because it's a big money fight. But, it takes two to make a fight.
And lastly, it took two to make a fight on September 29th, obviously the fight that we'd all waited for, Crawford and Spence. Were you surprised at how one-sided the fight ended up being?
No, because I knew what Bomac knew, that Spence can't fight a lefty. You always had to look at his resume. He fought two lefties of nondescript guys in his whole career, and that told me that he didn't want to fight a lefty. So Crawford, instead of going out right-handed and then switching southpaw because he's ambidextrous, went out and fought him just left-handed. I wasn't surprised at all.
Being that Spence has activated the rematch clause, the dynamic of Lefty is still there. Maybe it's at 154 pounds this time. Does that change anything?
Changes nothing.
Lastly, you mentioned Bomac, so I think I'd be remiss in not mentioning that he's in a lot of trouble here on this side of the pond. Arrested for gun possession. I know that's not your fighter anymore, or your team, but you've known him. Is there anything that you would do or say to help him?
Bomac is a great guy, and what the hell he was doing if he carrying a gun to the UK, where they have really good, strict gun control rules. I don't know, but Bomac is a solid citizen, and I'm sure he'll work his way out of the problem. Well, I don't know what the hell he was doing with a gun, if in fact the gun was his. I don't know.
Bob, I know as a promoter, it's important for you to make as much money for your fighters as possible. This is the biggest money fight that Tyson could have. But as a boxing promoter of Hall of Fame status in so many decades, is it important to you at some point to put on the undisputed heavyweight championship fight of the world?
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's what I hope to do before I retire or end my career in boxing, is to do the unification fight.
Well, let's hope that that's not for many, many more decades, but we'll get that undisputed fight anyway soon. Radio Rahim with the chairman of the board, none other than Bob Arum.
Thank you.